We're sitting here with Ray Stevens, probing his mind. And
with a short probe.
What have you been doing?
I've been in the studio a little bit, working, and on the road a little bit, and playing golf a little bit.
That's your new love, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I just took up golf again after a 12-year hiatus. And I still got a golf swing, looks like an octopus trying to put up a beach chair, but I'm getting into it.
I never knew you played golf.
Yeah. Well, I used to a long time ago.
Did you ever play with Jerry Reed?
Like 12, 13 years ago, yeah.
Jerry Reed makes me nervous.
He makes a doorknob nervous.
He's just jumping all the time. I never thought of you as a golfer.
Well, yeah. Well, that's understandable because I did give it up for 12 years, but I'm back now. I got new clubs, new bag, new shoes, got Argyle socks, sent over to Scotland, got him to send me a wooden putter. I mean, I got everything. I've even got an unlosable golf ball.
You're kidding.
No, you hit that thing, and if it goes in the water, a little propeller shoots out, and it shoots up to the top, and then it scoots along and comes up on the bank, and it jumps up on the bank by itself, and it goes boop, 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 so you can go find it. If it gets, that's right. If it gets in the rough, it'll just jump up and go boop, 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 so you can find it.
Why do I not believe you, Ray?
No, I got one of those. You ought to get you one.
I'd love to have one. I just don't think they exist.
You ought to have one.
Where could I find one?
Well, I don't know. I found this one.
Oh, did you? Because it was going boop, boop, boop. You know what I saw on the Tonight Show, and I have never been able to find one at any store in America. You know, Johnny Carson will often show off new gimmicks that are for sale, usually for Christmas time. And they had a golf ball on that show that you could wind up, and it had little feet, I swear. And you could wind it up and aim it toward the hole, and it would walk to the hole and just fall in.
I love it. I need one of those.
But I've never been able to find one. I only saw it on that show.
I was playing with Billy Ed Wheeler not long ago, and he said, I want to tee off first. I want to tee off first. So we said, okay. He tees up his ball, and it's one of those exploding balls. And we didn't know it, and he hit it with his driver, and big loud noise and smoke, and fragments went everywhere, and it was really something. You ought to get one of those.
Usually, though, you give that to your friend.
I know it, but he wanted to hit it himself.
And then they have golf balls that are out of round. That when you try to putt them, you lay it on a flat surface, and it will not go in a straight line. You haven't had these tricks pulled on you yet?
No, the other day was the first time I saw the exploding golf ball.
What do you shoot?
Let's just don't talk about that. I shoot in the low hundreds.
Who do you play with?
That's for 9.
No, you always say I shoot in the low 70s. If it gets any colder, I don't play. Who do you play with?
Well, anybody that'll play with me.
You play with Chester?
Yeah, sometimes.
Chet Atkins?
Yeah.
Now, he's a golfer.
Oh, he's a good golfer. He hits it down the middle.
Will he play with you? Or maybe I should say, will he put up with you?
Well, yeah, every now and then we play.
Tell me about your new album.
Well, it's all funny songs, all comedy songs. And I think people perceive me this way, so I'm going to go with it, you know.
Is this something you've been fighting for a long time?
Well, I haven't been fighting it, but I've been resisting it a little bit.
You don't want to be perceived as funny?
Well, not necessarily that it's not that I don't want to be, but I want to be perceived as something in addition to being funny, and maybe in time that'll come to be. But I'm just determined that I'm not going to rush it, don't you know?
Well, Ahab the Arab really set him off, and Get Tarzan and The Streak, and
well, yeah.
Shriners Convention.
Yeah.
We're not all real serious songs. This is an entire album of funny stuff, though.
Yeah.
Tell me about
hopefully funny stuff.
The Mississippi Squirrel Revival.
Well, it's about a squirrel that gets loose in a church, and the song is pretty self-explanatory. It's been played locally here for a few days and on the radio, as you know, and the response has been very good, and we're getting similar reports out of Chicago and Atlanta and other places around the country, so this will probably be the next single that we'll be shipping any day now.
Okay. I'm Kissing You Goodbye was a single that they decided not to release.
Well, the single was tested, and it did get out a little bit, but we didn't get the right response, so we decided to pull it back in and go with the squirrel song.
Are you a church-going man?
Well, occasionally I will attend, yes. Not as much as I should, I must admit, but I have those thoughts anyway.
Have you ever been to church and seen people try to refrain from laughing? Maybe a little kid is cutting up.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I can remember the worst time in my life as a little child. I'm standing in church. I'm going to put it just as succinctly as possible. My guts were growling, and it got all the people. And we were trying to sing, and they could hear them. The people around me all started laughing.
You mean over the singing?
Huh?
Over the singing?
Well, it wasn't. I was a very small church.
What'd you go to the Christial before you went to church?
Maybe it was before. Yeah, you're right. The singing would have been too loud. Maybe it was right before the song.
Yeah.
But,
Last time I was in church, preacher said he's against flying. He said he thought the Lord didn't intend for man to fly because it said in the Bible, "Lo, I am with you always."
Lo. Ray, you've got to be proud of Reba McEntire.
Why? Who?
Well, I happen to know that you published one of her hit songs.
Oh, she's a sweet lady.
On
yes.
her way up.
And I am proud of her. She's done very well.
She recently became the #1 female country music vocalist in America at the CMA Awards show.
Right.
And I'm trying to recall the tune that you published.
Oh, I published a song called "I Don't Think Love Ought to Be That Way."
Mm-hmm. And that was a big hit for her.
Yeah.
And that, plus some other tunes, they brought her to this position in life. And she's a nice lady.
She sure is.
Ray, you ever going to make another record?
Well, I am, and I just hadn't done it yet. I've been busy, but I'm going to do it real soon. I've got a great idea. I'm going to get some real chickens this time, and use them in the background. Sort of in the background. There's a new breed I've heard about that's got a kind of a different sound that I want to try.
A new breed of chicken?
Yeah, I was
something like a Dominicker or a Rhode Island.
No, it's
Red?
a three-legged chicken. I was driving down this old country road the other day, out around Dixon, Tennessee, and I looked out the windshield and there's this chicken running along in front of the car, and I said, I believe that chicken's got 3 legs. So I speeded up a little bit, and the chicken speeded up, and I speeded up, and the chicken speeded up. I looked down, I was going 90 miles an hour, and all of a sudden this chicken takes a right. I mean, just into this farmhouse and runs back to the farmhouse into the barnyard area. And I couldn't stop that quick. I put on brakes, big cloud of dust. I put it in reverse, backed up, turned in the driveway, saw an old farmer sitting up on the front porch. He was just rocking and spitting. I said, "Did you see a 3-legged chicken come running?" He says, "Yeah." I said, "As a matter of fact, we breed them here." I said, "You breed 3-legged chickens?" He says, "Yeah, I like drumsticks, and my wife likes drumsticks, and the kid likes drumsticks, so we've been breeding them 2 or 3 years." And I said, "Well, I'll be darned, how they taste?" He said, "Dang if I know, I ain't never caught one of them suckers." So, as soon as I can catch one, well, I'm gonna see what they sound like, and maybe I'll have a whole new dimension in chicken records here.
Are you really gonna make another record by the chickens?
Yeah, sure.
The Hen House 5+2.
I may change their name.
The hit record was In the Mood.
Leggerns in Their Own Time. I may call, or Jive Chicken. The song that I really want to do next is Yakety Cack. I think that would just be a great thing.
Could you give me a demonstration of how that might sound?
No, I can't. I'm not prepared.
How about, you used to talk about doing Holiday for Strings.
Yeah, Holiday for Hens, we would call it.
Right. That one. I don't do it as well as you do, though. I mean, you make a wonderful chicken.
Well, thank you. I'll tell Johnny Cash you said that.
Oh, Chicken in Black.
Yeah.
Big hit.
Chickens are in.
One of my all-time favorite comedy songs is a song about a guy who calls the ladies on the telephone, and he breathes heavily into the telephone. It's kind of an obscene phone call. Fact is, the character, the song is called "It's Me Again, Margaret," and it came out several years ago by
Paul Kraft, who wrote the song. I think it was about 11 years ago, and it didn't make it. I don't know why, but I've been like you. I've been a fan of the song for a long time, and I had a copy of the old record, and so I decided to put it in this new album, and it's still called "It's Me Again, Margaret." And we gave it a little facelift, and I think it turned out really well.
Did you change any of the lines in it?
Yeah, one or two.
I think that's a funny record. We never know his name, do we?
Yeah, it says it in the first verse, Willard McBain. There once was a feller named Willard McBain.
Okay, I somehow missed that part.
Oh, well. Yeah.
Did you put the name to him, or was that in Paul Kraft's original?
No, Paul had him named too.
Willard?
Well, I might have changed the name, but Paul named him something.
Okay.
And I might have changed it to Willard.
You love the name Willard, don't you?
I like Willard, yeah.
Yeah, Willard's been in a lot of your records. But that's a fun... You going to release that as a single?
I don't know. It's a big possibility.
Right, let me ask you about your family. I was at your place one night. You were having a gathering there. I think it was Shirley's 10th anniversary. Shirley, who has been working for you for all these years. And we went into your office, and you played some recordings by one of your girls.
Yeah, Susie.
How old is Susie?
Susie is 20 now.
And you have two girls.
Right.
Susie and...
Timmy Lynn.
She is...
23.
Okay. Is Susie the one that wants to be the singer?
Right.
As I recall, she was very good.
Well, thank you. I think so, too.
Is she going to be a professional singer?
Well, I hope so. She's trying to get started.
How is she trying to get started?
Well, she's writing songs, and I'm taking her in the studio and recording her. And
has she been out in front of a live audience yet?
A few times, not very often.
You know, that's the real test.
Well, sure it is, but, you got to crawl before you can walk.
I understand. Ray, do you recall the first time you ever went out in front of a live audience?
No, I don't. I think I blotted it out of my memory. I probably was so scared I didn't even know I was doing it.
Would this have been when you were still in Atlanta?
Well, probably not. It was probably when I was living down in South Georgia, down in Albany, Georgia.
I didn't realize you had lived there.
Oh, yeah, I lived there from the 5th grade through the 11th grade of school.
Okay. Did you have a little band in high school?
A little band, right.
Well, where would you play?
We'd play, sock hop in the gym on Friday nights, down to VFW for the Christmas party, whatever. We'd play all over that part of the state. Sometimes we'd drive over to Auburn and play for one of the fraternity parties over there.
Over to Opelika, Alabama?
Mm-hmm.
Somehow in the back of my mind, I think of you being in a band with Jerry Reed.
Well, yeah, when I moved to Atlanta then, I met Jerry, and we had a little band that's sort of a very loose type organization, and every now and then we'd get a booking and go play it.
All right, let me carry this a step further. At some point, let's get out of the dance situation for a moment. At some point, you had to be booked in an auditorium.
Right.
5,000-6,000 people out there. First time. They just really came to hear you sing, not to dance. Do you recall that?
No.
But I would think that would be scary.
Well, it was.
First time.
I'm sure it was.
Were you doing comedy in your act in the early days?
No, I don't think so.
See, I know that now you intersperse all of your shows with comedy, don't you?
Oh, yeah. No, back in those days I was just singing, rock and roll and straight songs, Jerry Lee Lewis songs, Ray Charles songs, whatever.
And what would you say between tunes?
I don't remember.
Just thank you very much.
Something like that, yeah.
That's what Roy Orbison does. Did you ever work with Roy Orbison?
Yeah.
Roy Orbison will come out. He says nothing. He sings a song. Usually it's one of those gold records.
They're all gold.
Yeah, I know. I played a date with him one night, and he gave me a list of what he was going to sing. There were 13 smashes on that list. And he would sing, and he'd say, "Thank you very much." The band hit the downbeat, and away they'd go.
He didn't have to talk.
He'd say, they'd applaud. He'd say, "Thank you very much," and away they'd go again. And I know, and he didn't linger on introducing the band. He said, before his last tune, he would say, "I'd like a hand, please, for the band, Frank, John, Tom,
Dick and Harry,
whoever." But he didn't linger with the introduction, and they'd hit the downbeat, and away he went into Pretty Woman. But he didn't say 14 words in that whole show. Is that the way you were in the early days?
Well, no, I wasn't quite that untalkative, but it was probably close.
Do you enjoy working to the live audience?
Yeah.
You like to look them in the eye?
Yeah, I like a smaller room. Actually, you don't make as much money, but I like, because you can't sell as many tickets, but I like the smaller places like, say, for instance, a big nightclub. that's about the size audience that I like to work to. I think most entertainers like an audience that is that close, and you feel like you have some contact with them. These big shows where you're like in a stadium or in a huge auditorium, the audiences sometimes are 30, 40 yards away,
Yeah,
the closest ones, and it's really hard to, establish any kind of rapport.
Ray Stevens is a fella I have known around Nashville for, golly, I don't know, 25 years?
Yeah, at least, I think.
And he's had a remarkable career. If you had it to do over, would you do anything differently?
Yeah. I don't know what, but I'd do something different.
Yeah, you're tired of Ahab the Arab, aren't you?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm glad it was a hit in 1962, but it's almost 23 years now, and it's just, it's understandable that I would be tired of it.
You still sing it. You still
I still sing it on the show when people want to hear it.
Have you ever tried to do a show without singing Ahab?
Yeah.
What happens?
Well, sometimes I get away with it. Sometimes you'll always get somebody to say, sing the one about the camel and sing about Ahab the Arab. So a lot of times I do get heckled from the audience to do it. Years ago, I cut a song called Sunday Morning Coming Down.
Yes, you did.
And
because you cut it before Johnny Cash cut it, didn't you?
Yeah, I had the first record on the song. And I got a call. About the time I finished up, I spent days in the studio. I mean, I looked like a mole when I came out. And I got a call from L.A., and I went out and heard a new song written by Burt Bacharach and Hal David. It was going to be in a movie, some new movie they were coming out with Robert Redford and Paul Newman. And they wanted me to sing this song and sing it in the movie. And I said, they played me the song, and I said, I don't like that line about feet too big for the bed. I think I'll pass, because I got this great song in the can ready to come out Sunday Morning Coming Down. And they said, okay, so they got B.J. Thomas to sing Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, and I came out with Sunday Morning Coming Down. And, needless to say, I sort of made a mistake there. But
yeah, but
that's one of the things I'd do different if I had it all to do over. And,
you got a dog?
No, I don't. I've had a lot of dogs, but right now I don't have one. I don't want one. I travel too much. I couldn't take care of it, but one of these days I'm going to get another dog.
Did you give your dog strange names?
I had a dog once named D for dog.
D for dog.
Yeah.
Do you remember the night we went to the White House together and we saw Johnny Cash?
Oh, yeah, that was great, too.
And this was 1970, I guess. I mean, Johnny Cash, the Statlers, Carl Perkins, the Carters were entertaining Mr. Nixon.
Uh-huh.
And there were many of us in the who were invited guests. I sat right behind you.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember we would look over to see how Mr. Nixon was reacting?
Oh, yeah, sure.
And you're trying to figure out, does he like this song? Does he like this performance?
Does he even know what this song is about? So,
Ray, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ralph.